Thank you. I would like to introduce myself, and then I would like to have a quick introduction from you guys. Um, and welcome to AWS Cloud Engineering Bootcamp webinar, guys. This is a January 2025 cohort, and this is especially for AWS, and we also do for Azure, but this is for AWS. And let me give a quick introduction about myself. My name is Sudhir Subramaniam, and the founder and CEO of Leadtecno Staffing and Training Services. We founded this company in 2016, and the services which we offer in Leadtecno is consulting, staffing, and training. And I do deal with both IT and non-IT jobs as well. And I do work in banking, telecom, insurance, and healthcare. These are the four sectors we are doing staffing right now. And mostly on the IT side. And very recently, we moved towards healthcare sector and telecom and also we are moving into construction too. So our goal is to make sure that we provide staffing services not only for IT, for also for individuals who are non-IT too. So we are expanding both in US and Canada. And do want to tell you how we work is this is a kind of on the training side, we offer only services where the careers are in demand because we are in a staffing company. We really understand where the jobs are and where the wait time is less, where the job careers are hot and supply is very less, high demand, and we understand that, so we bring it to the people and bring that awareness. That way, you don't have to worry about which career to choose, and you can make smart decisions because there are many other careers you can study and you'll eventually end up waiting for a long time. So it's very important for you to understand which career is in demand so that you're set for the next 10 years and your skill is in high demand and your average wait time is very less. That's very, very important. Okay. Some of the careers we are focusing is on the cloud data engineering for AWS and Azure. Again, on cloud DevOps engineering, both for Azure and AWS. On the cloud engineering, we do Azure, AWS, and GCP, and we do certified cloud administrator also. On the data science, we all the way go to machine learning, and on the cybersecurity, we do incident management, SOC analyst, and pen testing, and then we're talking about GRC and information management system. There's an array of things we do in cybersecurity, and we also on the business analyst side, we work on ServiceNow. On the ServiceNow infrastructure tool, we work on administrator roles, solution architect roles, business analyst roles, and developer roles in ServiceNow. So each of them are a separate portfolio. And today I would like to shed more light on the AWS Cloud Engineering career. This is a small introduction of myself. I would ask Mr. Amaya, who's the lead consultant and trainer for this program, who's working with us for a while. Could you please share a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go into the agenda. Thank you, Amaya. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for asking. How about you?
You're looking smart in your blazer. You're looking
Thank
handsome.
you.
It
Thank
looks
you
like
so
you're ready for
much.
the kill, Amaya.
Yeah,
All right,
sure.
I'm looking forward to it. We are ready. Go for it. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Very good evening. So my name is Ameya Vaidya. So I'm having a more than 15 years of experience in the industry. So basically, I'm managing the entire different cloud platform. So I'm the I can say the cloud engineer. So from last, okay, so I started with some different things, right? And also I also switched my career in between my, from last 6, 7 years, I'm in the totally on the cloud. So my daily job role is to implement the different services on the AWS, Google, that's in GCP, Azure, Microsoft, then Alibaba, that's in from the China, and Oracle as well. So my job role is to implement a different services, okay, and also my job role is to also manage, okay, also prove the ROI to the company because this cloud product is a completely a variable cost to the company. Then also my job role is also to save the cost, implement the solutions, providing the supports to the developer. So that's just in my daily jobs, okay, in my organizations. So I also completed multiple certifications, for example, Cisco certifications, I also completed Red Hat certifications, Microsoft certification, Azure certification, and also I'm completed more, no, more than 7 certifications in the AWS, starting from the basic to medium to professional and the specialty. I also hold the two certification for the Azure as well. That's the administration as and the architecture. And recently, I also completed a Google certification that's on GCP. I'm also the freelancer technical trainer apart from my job because I feel that the training is my passion and I'm here today only for my passion purpose. And someone say that if your passion become your professional career, then it's a beautiful combination. So I'm just following that, no, that my passion. So from last 5+ years, I'm doing the training on the specifically so AWS. So my main cup of tea is in AWS. I have a keen interest in AWS. So I give the training on the AWS Solution Architect, Developer Associate, Professionals, Specialty, Security. So till now, I completed more than 100+ batches, okay, about the AWS. I don't remember exactly the count, and I train more than 1,000 peoples across the different countries, let's say Canada, US, and some other country as well. And so yes, that's it about a very small introduction about me. Okay, I'll also share some more inputs after the Sudesh.
Thank you, Mia. Thank you so much. Just a minute. Let me share my screen. And Mia is one of the senior consultants in this industry, and he understands the total infrastructure of this platform. And what I want to do is first I want to talk about a little bit about her services and the agenda, and then and guys, can you please kindly mute yourself, please? Thank you. All right, so we're going to discuss about the agenda, and then slowly I want to talk about the scope of this career, which you should be knowing. It's very important that you make a sound decision in what exactly you want to do. We want to bring out and help you guys understand what is the demand in this career, okay? So, like I said, we are a staffing services. We work with Tech Mahindra, HCL Tech, TCS, Infosys, Randstad, Wipro, Robertson, Robert Half, and then and a lot of other companies in US and Canada. So we are basically a payroll company. So we work with vendors who are connected with clients. So they provide us requirements, like they want X number of AWS engineers, they want X number of DevOps guys, they want X number of cybersecurity guys, they want guys with ETL experience, ServiceNow experience. So these are the vendors we work with. So they give us the requirement and we source them candidates. Okay, so we do source with candidates who have actual experience, and we also source candidates for junior roles from our training too. Our main business is payroll business, which is the staffing business, and then we also have training business to support and help people who like to transition into tech career because of our vast knowledge. What we have in our in the staffing side, both in US, Canada, we get a good understanding, a good from the big picture. We understand which are the careers which are in demand, and so that we bring those to the people, and that way you can get into the job faster. And we are also helping our vendors, and we are able to give more resources on the areas where the jobs are, where the resources are less, right, in certain hot careers. So that's what we do. So talking about today's agenda, so we're going to talk about, what is AWS Cloud Engineering career. Amia will talk about it, and we will discuss about how in a day AWS Cloud Engineer's job will look like. What are the various things an engineer would do, and what are the certifications we require, what skill set is required, and what are the prerequisites required to move to this career. And I will discuss the job market trend and demand discussion, and we will take you into the training module, and we will also discuss a bit about our training and placement services as well. Talking about AWS Cloud Engineer, some of you might know what is AWS. Some of you guys might not know. AWS is a primary cloud platform where services can be done in cloud. I mean, I will be going in detail with that. So I want to talk about a little scope about this career, which is very important. Cloud engineering, especially there are in three segments. One is AWS for Amazon, then we have Azure for Microsoft, and then we have Google Cloud Platform from Google services, right? There are three, but the market leaders in Canada and US is AWS, and secondly comes Azure, and then comes cloud in GCP. most of the senior consultants would have knowledge on all the three platforms. So if you're looking to start your career, then it is very good to start on the AWS Cloud platform, because almost 65 to 70% of the job market, most of the organization in various sectors, they use AWS platform as the preferred. But Azure is also equally catching up. It's not to be taken lightly, because Microsoft is also a commonly used business suite in most of the organization. Azure is very easily integratable with those organizations, so they also use Azure. But can you become multi-cloud engineering at the beginning? I don't recommend that. It's good to start with AWS and then work towards Azure and then work towards GCP. All right. But each of these platforms are like a product which you learn. So there's a high demand for cloud engineers right now. Even if you go on Google as we speak, you will see a lot of cloud engineering jobs, and in AWS, Azure, and many other cloud platforms. So coming to the market trends, it's very important before you make a decision to move into a cloud engineering role. It's very important to understand the growth of the sector, not just go by the Google and the number of jobs. Some of the jobs you might not see very actively posting, but they're consistent in coming, like guideware. So today we are looking at a fastest cloud computing is the fastest growing sector, because many of the organizations they're saving their operational expense by migrating their systems and infrastructures to applications to cloud. So there's a lot of migration activities are going on, which we will be teaching you in this boot camp. So AWS is leading the market share globally at a rate of 32%, and they are continuing to be a market leaders for the last 20 years, and which is not an easy thing. So they are pretty competitive, and there's a lot of jobs coming up in this area. It's a global career, so no matter where you are, you can pick up a job in any continent. Okay, so one of the reasons why, because AWS is a very highly scalable cloud platform. And just a minute. Could you please mute yourself, guys? Thank you. So sectors hiring. So it's important for us to know which sectors are hiring, which is finance, when you have banking and insurance in it. Then we're talking about healthcare. Healthcare is a huge domain in US. Okay, a financial sector is a huge domain for us. Government is a big domain for us. Retail, we're talking about e-commerce, gaming, and education. So these are the various sectors right now. I see AWS is booming, and there are a lot of startups also there, and almost 60% of the Fortune 500 companies, they heavily rely on Amazon Web Services cloud platform. So it's very important that you choose a career which has got a higher scope. Than choosing a sector, I recommend you to start a career on a technology, on a product, because if a financial sector goes down, your job market goes down. So you don't want to do that. So it's good for you to specialize, kick off starting an IT career with specialty on a particular product. For example, AWS Cloud Platform is a very good platform to start off with. Okay, so job market growth statistic in the US, the growth rate is at 23% annually. Through 2025, we're expecting a growth, and which is much faster than average. In Canada, we are expecting a growth of 22% in cloud-based jobs, so which is a phenomenal growth, and we are expecting more growth as well. Well, let's see how this year is going to turn out. Coming to the growth opportunities of AWS, there's a lot of designations. It's very important when you're choosing a career in a particular IT field, it's very important that you also log down very specifically on the job designation too. And also because the staffing guys will search you with the designations like cloud engineers, cloud administrators, cloud solution architects, cloud developers. So, and then you specialize on that particular product. So some of the roles you'll be in this bootcamp, we are helping you move into cloud engineer career. So that will be your first job role. Okay, and later on we will also discuss what are the skill set required to become a cloud engineer, which Amaya will go in great detail. And you can progress slowly, eventually into senior roles like cloud architect, cloud consultant, and cloud security specialist. Excuse me. It's important for us to take an engineering role, guys, because naturally these roles will also move to AI engineering. Okay, so all of these platforms are very futuristic. So where a lot of people are not giving attention to. And that's one of the reasons why these careers are in high demand and low supply. And you should definitely think about starting this career. Leadership roles, experienced professional. Once you're experienced, you often move into managerial roles and you're leading a team. Okay, and that's you're talking about it. You can get there in 4 to 5 years. The growth in the IT sector is pretty phenomenal and very rapid and fast. You perform well and you're continuously upgrading yourself, you can do very well. One of my friends started an AWS career 15 years back. Now he's working in New Jersey. He's global solution architect for AWS itself from New Jersey. And all of these curriculums we share with our friends who are in AWS sector, senior managers, and they validate us. And when we come with the bootcamp curriculum, we do a market analysis and what is the current trend. Because what we teach you in this bootcamp, we want to make sure 80 to 90% of the job market requirement is trained in the training atmosphere for you so that it will be easy for you to transition into the job. And these trainings are literally close to the actual job environments, which Ameya will talk about in great detail. There are many versatile roles in the cloud engineering AWS platform. Some of the engineers, they work in DevOps platform too. So we will give you introduction in DevOps as well. Ameya will talk about it. I don't want to steal his thunder. And also in the security platform, which is great. Cloud security is a upcoming career right now. Anybody who's a GRC consultant in cloud security, you're looking at a minimum average salary of $100 to $130 per hour. We also do governance, risk, and compliance for cloud security training as well. And if you have signed up for one of our programs, you're automatically eligible for a complimentary one more free session also. You don't have to pay for it. Only one session you need to pay for it, and you get another one complimentary. So DevOps is an upcoming booming career. And if you're from networking background, yes, and or if you're from a software testing automation background, then DevOps is a very good thing. But we do also cover that in this program. Then we're talking about data engineering. Data engineering are the guys who are, there is something called cloud data engineering too. We also teach that in Azure. These are the guys who will help solve data migration challenges in a migration towards cloud. Okay, and they need tools like Snowflakes, Databricks, ETL, Scala, pipeline. But you're not going to learn all those things. I'm just saying these are the various roles you can do in cloud, and you can come back and upgrade with us for free. You don't have to pay for it. When it comes to artificial intelligence and machine language, right now, what we know is we are right now, Canada is not the leader in it, but US, yes, they are leading in it. So you're looking at, there's a lot of, if you're certified in a generic AI, it's a good, but if you definitely need some coding skills. But as an analyst, if you know the integration points, it is good for you. We will talk in detail. And in AWS Cloud, we also have networking to managing the VPCs, load balancers, global applications. So there is a lot of route to learn. So the very first place to learn is a cloud engineer, because the output of this training, it's going to be a total download of this platform, which Ameya will talk in detail. If you're very fond of remote work flexibility, or if you have a family situation, you have small babies, you have a family where in a remote location, you can definitely look on for this, because a lot of AWS jobs are very remote jobs, and almost you're looking at a good remote. 70% of the jobs are remote and 30% are hybrid. And again, why hybrid? Because that's just the way the employer wants, and what they want is what they want. And there's some emerging technologies also. AWS cloud engineers are often working cutting edge technologies like serverless architecture. There's some new technologies, AWS Lambda, it's coming up. If you're trying to upgrade in the certifications, we can help you. Containerization, I will talk detail on it. And then edge computing, AI/ML applications. I can keep going. There's a lot into it, but let the consultant talk about it, Ameya. And then there are opportunities like AWS Cloud Engineer, some of the designations you're looking at. Cloud Solution Architect. This training will help you also provide get certified in Solution Architect. But are you launching a Solution Architect role? The answer is no. You're not starting there. If you're a beginner, you're a novice, you're new to a cloud platform, then you definitely want to start as an administrator, a cloud engineer. Cloud engineer is good because it attracts analyst jobs for you. DevOps is a different skill set altogether. and we do separate trainings for that. Then we have SRE, Site Reliability Engineer. These are the careers in boom. Then we cloud security engineers. Usually cloud security engineers are the guys who come from cybersecurity background. And this is where I said you can become GRC, governance risk and compliance. So it's another vertical by itself. And then we're talking about data engineer. That's another vertical. So it's important. We will be giving you a lot of knowledge in this area because we've been dealing with these roles and jobs and trainings and doing a market research on it. So we can bring a lot of value to your job search. Talking about some salary packages, which is the good part. It's very important that you want to start strong. It's very easy for you to start off your career at 90,000, both in US and Canada. It's very doable. Okay, provided you are certificate or you have certified adequately and you have a good hands-on knowledge on the system. Okay, in US, you're looking at an entry level at 90,000, goes all the way to 120 a year. Mid-level starts at 120,000, goes up to 150, and a senior level architect 150 to 200,000. Anybody who's in mid-level, we're talking about a solid experience of 5 to 6 years. We're looking at entry level, you're looking at 0 to 3 years experience. We're talking about 0 to 4 years. In Canada, entry level, you're looking at 70,000. This is actually based on the research, but you're looking at a starting salary of at least 85,000 here to 90,000. And very quickly, your salary in 2 years' time, it can cross 110 to 120 as a cloud engineer. It's a kind of career you can retire. And when you know very good about the architecture, you can also move in as a senior level and architect level. Salaries are really good. At that level, you really know what to do. Again, this is a kind of career you definitely want to get yourself certified. It's a highly certification-driven career. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask Amia to take over and take us through his PowerPoint over here. Amia, I'm going to make you the host now.
Sure.
Okay, you can share your screen and help us understand what is AWS and what is AWS engineering platform and what is that you're going to teach us and show us some light. And after that, we're going to talk about some placement assistance thing and then quickly we'll go into Q&A.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sudesh. So thank you. So let me share my screen. Just allow me a second. Okay, so let's get started. So now, as Sudesh said correctly, right, that this AWS, right? So the AWS is leading market shares. So now there is a two main reason behind why AWS is in currently number one in a cloud. Now the first reason is that AWS is the first company who introduced such a service into the market. Then second thing, AWS directly born into the cloud. All right. So other cloud vendor, let's say Azure or the OCI or any other thing, they adopt the technology of the cloud. And as Sudhi say that, right, we cannot take the lighter of the Azure as well. So now currently Azure also hold a second position. Now why? Now the main reason is that Microsoft, they already have their own customer. They have a large number of customer, and it is very easy for them to migrate from your on-premises to AWS. So now what exactly the cloud engineer? So from last 20, 30 minutes, okay, we are talking about the cloud engineer, but what exactly it is, right? So now when we talk about this specifically a cloud engineer, right? So the I can say this cloud engineer, okay, is completely on the discipline focus, which is designed on implementation, managing cloud-based system, and that is also using some tool like an AWS, GCP, Azure like. So now this cloud engineer, if you talk about the AWS, right? So this cloud engineer also leverage AWS services and tool to create your scalable, secure, and very effective solutions, okay, to the need for your business. Cloud infrastructure also design your deployment and automation, cost optimization, security and compliances, monitoring and maintenance, and data management. So when we talk about the cloud, it means what it is just in managing your entire infrastructure. Now you might heard about that every organization, they are now migrating from the on-premises infrastructure to the AWS, GCP, or the Azure. Now, the main reason is that obviously the cost. So now what happened exactly whenever, let's suppose if I have the on-premises maintenance, right? So let's suppose, or let's say for an example, let's talk about you are the owner of the e-commerce website. Now, for to run that e-commerce website, you need a lot of servers. You need to have your server racks. You also need to manage the hardware. You also need to manage the software. You also need to manage the software license. You also need a manpower. You need a cooling system. You need electricity and many more things that you require. Now, let's suppose, okay, your website is working fine, okay, on an entire year. And now what happened? You thought that, okay, let's have something called the Big Billion Day, or let's say Black Friday Day. So now where you want to give the discounts to your customer, more than 30, 40 discount. And now what happened exactly? On that specific festival day, on your website, the load is almost more than 200%, right? Or more than 300%. Why? Because maximum customer want to avail the benefit of the discount here. And now what happened exactly? Your server, your on-premises server is not that much capable to handle those requests. And the result may be server crash, or your legitimate user may not be able to access the website. Now the reason is that there is a huge load and you cannot, guess the capacity. You cannot predict that, okay, so today I'll get 1,000 customer or 2,000 customer or 3,000 customer, right? So today, if you see the example today, so we have a more than 25, or more than the participant. We cannot predict that, okay, only 20 or 30, because it completely depend upon the interests, okay, the customer, business, and everything. And now, if okay, if your e-commerce is the entire server is on the on-premises, then obviously we cannot guess the capacity. And what happened? The server is crash. So now only for 2 or 3 days, or let's say 5 days in a year, it is not possible for me to purchase this entire hardware, a same exactly duplicate hardware. Now the main reason is that what happened exactly, if you purchase this even the same hardware, it means what, it's directly direct cost to your company. And as I say that you require that compute server only for a 4 or 5 days, right? It means what, we cannot prove the ROI, that's the return on investment. And for that new server, there is a no resource utilization. Now the reason is why, because the new server we may use only for 4 or 5 days. So this is the pain point, and here the cloud come to the picture actually. So now what you can do in the cloud, right? You can leverage the benefit of renting the server. So on the cloud, what we can do, we can rent a server only for 1 or 2 days. We can deploy our payment gateway. We can deploy our the website content. We can also deploy the application which support that e-commerce website database and everything. And now using this elastic load balancer, right? What we can do, we can leverage like 20 or 30% traffic is managed by the your on-premises infrastructure, and rest of the traffic is managed by completely on AWS, GCP, or Azure. And if there is a huge load, let's say 300, 400, or 500x load as well, those specific cloud computing, right, upgrade their self, right? It means what? Here, main benefit of the cloud is CapEx turn into the OpEx. You don't need to invest any hardware on this capital. Then another benefit is that it's a completely pay as you go services. Now, for an example, as I say that if I purchase a new hardware for that e-commerce website, so if I use it or not use it, okay, there is a no, okay, change in a cost. It means what? If I use that server for the 6 month, or even though if I, use that server 100% CPU utilization, then still there is a no change in a cost. So that's the reason the cloud is famous, because why? It's a just a pay as you go services. It's just a rent out. And here the company saved a lot of cost as well. Okay, so I'll also share some business case whenever I start the session, how company use that features of the AWS, and how exactly they can save more than 90% of the cost. We'll also discuss the detailed case study in our session as well, where you understand that why exactly we are using. Because my main motto of the training is that to clear why. And if the why is clear, then the rest of the thing is very, very, very easy. So now if you talk about, so this is just an about the AWS, right? Or the any cloud. And if you talk about the cloud engineering, so I can say that the cloud engineering is a first step of the learning the cloud or the managing the cloud. So in daily, in daily, I can say day to day life, right? So main thing is that cloud infrastructure design. So if you are, become the cloud engineer, it means what you need to secure and scalable solutions. Okay, you need to use a services like a virtual machine, the storage, then the networking, the databases, even though the Lambda, that's the serverless. And you also need to design a very highly available disaster recovery and even though failure tolerance as well. Then you also need to deploy, just give me 1 second. Then you also need to, okay, your job is also about the deployment and the automations. So now whenever we say about the deployment automations, it means what? That's nothing but the infrastructure as a services. It means what? Using just few clicks, you need to deploy your entire network or let's say entire resources on a AWS or GCP. So we call that cloud formation tool. You might heard about the Terraform as well, or you might heard about the CDK. So that is a part of the deployment and automation. As I just said that about the cost optimization. So how exactly you can monitor or how exactly you can decrease the cost by using some different monitoring tools. Monitoring, optimization, resource uses, then cost explorer. So that tool that you need to use, okay, while you working daily. Security and the compliances. So you also need to implement a different security. You also need to no, deploy your best practices, and that is also using your AWS IAM, that's the identity and access management, your security groups, your web application firewall, AWS config, so that you can monitor and you can also provide a security as well. Then your resource monitoring, right? Because obviously we cannot see it in front of the AWS 24/7. So we need some tools which provide us the alarm, right? So let's say if your CPU utilization goes more than 100%, or let's say 90%, or if there are some resources which sitting idle as well, more than 3-4 days, it means what? If that specific resources it's sitting idle, it means we are just wasting the resources. So for monitor also, okay, we have a different tool like in CloudWatch, AWS X-Ray, or some third-party tool also you can use. Then for the data management, right? So data management, you can also use a different services, like you can use the storage services, you can use the elastic file storages, implementing the data pipelines, right? Can you please mute yourself, Mohammed? Yeah, thank you. So now as I said that, right? So you can also implement a data pipeline analytics tool using the Glue, right? Redshift, then Athena. You can also use that different tool in the data management tool. So all these combinations, right? If you say that is all the combinations is about the cloud engineering. So now every organizations, why exactly the cloud engineering is very important. Now there are four things where the cloud engineer come to the picture, and I can say the cloud engineer is the asset for your organization. Why? Because he proved the ROI, right? He proved the resource utilization as well. So whenever I'll say that why exactly the cloud engineer is important, the first thing is that about this scalability. It also ensure that your system can handle the growing workloads, right? And without degrading any performance. And you also need to okay check about the innovations, different innovation. You also need to speed up the development cycle. You also need to time to market for the new application as well. So currently in the market, you heard about there are a lot of AI tools are coming. Okay, there are also a lot of serverless tool also coming. So that's the part of innovation. So you are also part of the innovation team who can speed up everything. Then the next one about the cost efficiency. So you need to reduce your operational costs by also leveraging your AWS pay as you go pricing model. So once you understand the cost, efficiency, so there are many doors are open for it. Not only about the cloud engineer, but there is also separate role for cost efficiency. That's nothing but a FinOps, financial operational. So if you heard about financial operation, then it might sound related to the non-technical thing and managing the finance. So the answer is no. Now the FinOps guy is also a very, very important one, a part of your entire network. As I just say that this AWS, okay, or this cloud, it means what? It's a variable cost to the company, right? Now what happened? Now this FinOps main work is to save the cost. How? So that you can unnecessarily terminate your resources, or even though you can also guide your development team that you can use these much resources or you can these resources, and by using these resources, you can also achieve the same thing. So this FinOps is also a very interesting topic, or I can say the job role. Okay, but for that you need to understand the entire cloud first. You need to be a very highly technical, because why? If you say someone that okay, you can, you should not, you can't use this, instead of that you can, no, you used A services, then you must have a knowledge about this. You also need to prove that why this is important, why this is not important. So the FinOps is also a very, very a technical job as well. Then reliability. Reliability, it means what? Guarantee about the uptime, right? Because obviously your organization cannot bear any disaster recovery, right? Or any disaster. So it's not like that you are everything is on the cloud. It means all the responsibilities taken care by these vendors like in Microsoft, Azure, or AWS or anything. No, so I'll also explain you in my session that what exactly the security in the cloud. So when I say security in the cloud, it means it's a customer responsibility. And when I say it's security of the cloud, it means what? That's your the cloud responsibility. So we also need to understand who is responsible for what. So for that reason, we also need to understand what exactly the reliability is. Guarantees about the uptime and performance through your robust architecture and monitoring. So these are, I can say, the four pillars. That's the reason every organization's required your cloud engineer. So once you understand, okay, these specific things, cloud engineer, then it's not like that you can only apply to the cloud engineer. You can go with a different thing. For an example, cloud architecture. So it's not like that, okay, you complete this specific syllabus and you can apply the cloud architecture. So the answer is no. Actually say that it requires some time, okay, to apply the position. Now the architecture, it means what? Architecture, it means designing, manage, and planning. These are the main criteria no, to for the cloud architecture. And after that, so no, so these are this way also open, and you can also go with the cloud software developers. So now you might have a query that, okay, Ameya, if I want to learn this specific thing, then do I need to have some coding background? Do I need to learn any C or Java, Python, C hash? So the answer is no. So to become the cloud engineer, you don't require any kind of technical knowledge, right? So you just need to understand that, okay, how exactly the server work, or what exactly how the computer behave and all. Because as I said that this AWS or GCP or the Azure is what? It just like an product, right? So for an example, if I ask you that, okay, so whenever you saw Instagram first time, you don't know anything about the Instagram, right? 4 or 5 years ago. But now if I ask you that, okay, upload the photo on the Instagram, just make some, beautification on, you can easily do that. Because why? Because you spend the time on that specific product. So day one, you don't know anything, but now you know most of the thing about the Instagram. And if Instagram updates something or upgrade something, then you can digest very easily. Because why? Because your basic was clear. You already spend a lot of time on the Instagram. The same thing is the cloud product. You cannot buy the time here. You need to spend the time on this specific cloud product. And once you spend the time, you make your hands dirty. It is very easy to use this product. So don't think about that. This is a super technical. Treat it like just an product. So you can also help developer in a cloud software developer. So this is also not a technical role. Here you need to, okay, implement the application or the software into your testing environment, into the production environment. So it is just an helper role for your developer or your QA, or even though your production team to deploy your applications or anything on the production server. Then we'll also discuss about some part of security as well, right? So in our syllabus, we also have a security, how exactly you can secure the product. As I said, that it's not about that every responsibility is an AWS responsibility. There are some responsibility which is divided. So in the cloud security, okay, I'll also explain you about how exactly the web application firewall work, how exactly you can prevent DOS attack, DDoS attack, how exactly you can monitor the network capture. So that by using this basic, you can also go with the cloud security engineer, but also you also need to understand some other services. I try my best to cover most of the things. Then after that, you can also go with the cloud the administrator. Now, when I talk about the cloud administrator, it means what? Managing your infrastructure. Then the troubleshooting your infrastructure as well. Because why? Because in your environment, you have 100 plus of the resources. For example, you have 100, 200 or 500 virtual machine. And if any organization has 500 virtual machine, it means what? They have their own compliances. They have their own set of rules. For example, you need to apply the patch manager. You also need to apply some policies. You also need to make sure that you have a proper inventory noted. Then you also need to make sure that all the system is patched up. So what exactly it is? That's the part of cloud administrator. And then the cloud network engineer. So now why exactly we require a networking? So yes, because in the cloud, you also need to create a different, I can say a department. So in your organization, you have the separate cloud department, you have a support department, you also have a QA department, development department, and you also have the some other department as well. You also need to create a communication in between these departments. And any organization, they are not using a single AWS product. They are using multiple AWS product. Because as I said, that decision just on pay as you go services. So managing 100 users in a 10 account or one account is difficult. So instead of that, what we can do, we can divide it, right? So we have a QA account in a separate location. We have a development account in a separate AWS account. So how exactly you can create a networking? So this specific, okay, the job is about managing network. Even though your organization might communicate to your directly on-premises environment as well. So in that on-premises environment to AWS, how exactly you can communicate? That also a part of cloud network engineer. And then after that, you also have the option for the cloud automation engineer. So as I just now, I discuss about the infrastructure as a code. So whenever I talk about the infrastructure code, right now, what exactly it means? Now, infrastructure code, it means what? Automation, right? That's the completely automation here. So whenever I talk about the infrastructure as a code, it means what? You also need to deploy your application in one click go. Now, because why? Because you need to create a repeatable deployment. Your QA team required a same network every time, or let's suppose in terms of disaster recovery occurred, so you need to act very fast. So how exactly you can create exactly the same environment in the AWS cloud? So that's the automation engineer. Mainly we focus on the repeatability, right? So that's the these are the roles here. So what exactly the roles, right? What exactly the daily responsibility of any cloud engineer? Okay, let's discuss on this. So in between, even though if you have any questions or anything that you want to ask me, then please feel free to ask. You can type the question. I'll also answer as well. Or at the end, if you want, you can also ask me the question. So now what exactly the daily responsibility of any cloud engineer? So now here you can see these are a different responsibility. So now whenever I start my day, I always check any alerts and notification. So I always monitor a dashboards of the AWS. For an example, what about the CloudWatch? Any new relax is there? Any new issues or any performance, any anomalies detections, anything. So that is my first task to check daily. Then you also have a daily stand-up meetings, right? So in that, it is just a short meeting where we can discuss about completing tasks, current priorities, any blockers that we have so that we can resolve it. That also we are discussing. Then, okay, I'll also plan for the day as well, right? So priority is the task that is based on the team goal, ticket, assignment. Then we also use a tool like in Jira, right, Trello, and some ongoing project. After that, we also check about the infrastructure management here. So when we talk about the infrastructure, it means what? Write or modify your infrastructure as a code, scripts. So using the Terraform or using the Cloud Formation tool, any existing deployment is there. Then we launching a new instance, virtual machines, database, resources, whenever we required it, or any developer team required it, testing team requirement, or even though any production team require, we can also provide it. Automation and optimizations. So we also implement and improve the automation script for our CI/CD pipeline. That is our continuous integration and continuous deployment. And that is also, using a tools like in code pipeline or any Jenkins. We also optimize the AWS services for the performance and cost as well. Okay, such as a right sizing of instance. So whenever I say the right sizing of instance, it means what exactly? Because as I said, that resource utilization is very, very, very important. So in that resource utilization, we check whether our CPU, right, or the instance is you consuming properly or not. Do we have any kind of the instance, right, or any instance which using high utilization, or do we have any instance which use a less CPU utilization or would sitting ideal? And daily tasks, okay, we also collaborate with the different teams. So we work with the application developer to troubleshoot and resolve the deployment or any runtime issue. Then we also partner with different security teams to address and finding from the AWS different services like a trusted advisor, AWS Messy, or even though we also find out the vulnerability in a AWS, right? That's the EC2 instance, your container, Lambda functions, etc. Then we also deploy a code or infrastructure updates, okay, to staging or a production environment. We also validate the deployment by running tests and reviewing the monitor data. Then we also manage a data pipeline or some ETL job, extract, transfer, load jobs using AWS Glue or Lambda. We also have some backup database, or let's say perform some data recovery or testing. And then after that, you already know that documentation is also required. So we update our run books, wiki pages, internal documentations will detail about changes, configuration, process. We also record the troubleshoot, right? To, for the resolution for the future use, creating tickets and all. And we also check the progress of long running tasks. For an example, database migration, data processing jobs, review and update, ticket status, and provide updates to the team, right? So the commonly tool, right? So daily we use the storage, right? Like for an example, we use the S3, right? To check the or manage the data. Then we also use monitoring tool like an AWS CloudWatch, Datadog, ELK stack. For infrastructure as a code, we also use a Terraform, Cloud Formation. For the code repository, we use GitHub, GitLab. For the CI/CD pipeline, we use Code Pipeline, Jenkins. For the ticket management, we can use a Jira. So these are the tools, right, we are using daily, and these are, this tool is must be, okay, I mean to say any cloud engineer must be aware about, okay, if they are, going for this cloud engineer responsibility. So now here, okay, I just want to explain, okay, these are different certifications. So here is a link, everyone. So if you want to go a very much detail, you can also go with this. Please save this link. So now here you can see, here we have a different certifications. So AWS designed this in a four type. One is a foundational, second one is associate, third is a professional. Oops, sorry, my bad. Four is a professional, and the last one is also a specialty as well. So now cloud practitioner, as I said that this is on product. So if the AWS is alien for you, if you don't know anything about the AWS, you can also start with a cloud practitioner. Okay, which is very basic informations about AWS, and you also understand core services in and that is also in very basic manner. Recently, AWS also launched AI practitioner. Again, AWS also has their own specific tool. So there are tools like text to speech, or let's say text to image. These are different tool which AWS also provide. So here in AI practitioner or foundational, you will understand about basic information about those tools. So actually, so main journey start with the associate certification. So here you can see, okay, the main certification is AWS Solution Architect Associate. I can say it is a backbone for the entire solution, entire AWS. Because the reason is why, because in solution architecture, okay, you will get information about basic, all the required tools like EC2 instance, then VPC or the monitoring tool, the cloud formation tool. You will understand each and every, okay, AWS foundational services, and that is also very deep. So the solution architect, it means again, it's not like that you will get an architecture role. So it's just a name, solution architect, where you understand about design, manage, planning, and you understand everything here. So our main core syllabus that we run, right? So if you want to become the cloud engineer, then you must be certified with the solution architect associate as well. I can say the certification is also one of the key point to get your dream job. Then developer associate. So now this developer associate, it doesn't mean that, okay, that, okay, you need to code here. No, as I said that how exactly you can help developers, right, to deploy a different application on the production. So just now I said about the code deployment, code build. These are the different AWS services. So here also you will understand about the CI/CD pipeline. Then SysOps, I'll just explain about the cloud administration. So cloud administration, it means what? That's the managing your entire environment. So Sudesh and his team already did some market research. And based on that, we design our design our syllabus by using the architecture, developer, and SysOps as well. Right. And you might have a question that Amay, you just said that the cloud practitioner, if the AWS is alien for you, right, then I don't know anything about AWS, so can I go this first and then come back to you? So the answer is again no, because the reason is that we'll start everything from the scratch. So if you are don't have any background of the AWS, or even though if you don't have a background of the cloud, so don't worry, we will explain you everything from the details, and that is also from the basic. It is not recommended that, okay, I mean to say, it's not like that you must have a coding knowledge, nothing else. There is a no proper prerequisites here. You can treat these as a product. Then AWS also recently launched Data Engineer Associate. Earlier in AWS, they have a data engineer specialty, but they retired that certification, and now they come with these new certification called Data Engineer. And if you are from the machine learning, you want to learn some Bedrock, generative AI, machine learning tool, then you can also go with the machine learning engineer associate. So here you will get information about some different services. But as I say that the main base of the AWS is solution architect only. Then here you can also, the next one is also a professional. A professional, it means what? Solution architect professional and DevOps engineer professional. So this solution architect professional, it means what? That's the advanced level of solution architect associate and sysops. So here you need to deal with a very complex situations of your network. How exactly you can deal with. So that's the, I can say, advanced architecture of AWS. That's the solution architect professional. And this DevOps engineer, it means what? It's a combination of the sysops administration and developer associate. That's become the DevOps engineer professional. Then after that, you also have a specialty as well. If you are from the Cisco background, or let's say you are from the networking background, you can also go with the advanced networking specialty. These are some specialty certifications which you can also complete it, like in machine learning, security. So here you need to have some knowledge, right? It's not like you can directly go with the certification or directly you can jump it, right? But here you need to understand some knowledge about the networking. You also need to have a knowledge about the AWS services like a virtual machine, the VPC, right? The how exactly you can use the cloud formation tool. So that you also need to understand. And security, it means what? It's not about your on-premises security. It's about security of your entire AWS. So how exactly you can, provide a security to your AWS product here. And it's so you might have a question that, okay, Amir, so can do I need to go like this first cloud practitioner, then this associate, then professional, then specialty? So for the certification, okay, there is a no requirement. You can jump anything, right? Anywhere. It's not uncompulsory. But training wise, I can say you can start with the solution architect because you need to start with A. You cannot jump to directly Z, right? The reason is that you need to understand the first thing and then you can go with it. So you can understand, you can learn this, and then you can, if you want to go with the certification, you can directly jump on it. That's not a problem. But for other certifications like the developer associate, sysops, data engineer, machine learning, you must need to understand a basic information about AWS. That is also very deep. And that we will also cover in sysops. I mean to say, in our syllabus, we are going to cover about sysop administration, developer, and also in solution architect. So how our syllabus, what exactly I'm going to cover? Let me explain with you. So there are total 13 models which I'm going to cover. Okay, so as I say, that first is fundamental. So first I'm going to clear these first, right? That's the cloud practitioner. So what exactly the basic about the cloud? So if you don't know about the cloud, don't worry, you will also get information about what exactly the AWS cloud is, what exactly the cloud, what is the different type of service that we have. For an example, what exactly the platform as a service, what exactly software as a service, then application as a service, infrastructure as a service, that I'm going to cover it. Then also I'm going to cover about the different AWS services infrastructure. Now, as I said that this AWS, it means it's a product, right? So for an example, if I host some website on my laptop, right, and now it is accessible to everyone. Let's say it's a songs website, mysongs.com. So you open my songs website, you download some songs. For you, it's what? It's in cloud. But for me, I hosted my website in the laptop. If my laptop crash, it means my website is also crash. So now here, how exactly AWS manage their infrastructure? So that I'm going to explain in a AWS infrastructure. What exactly the AWS well architecture framework, that also I'm going to explain. After that, here, I'm also going to explain about the different account security. For example, the first thing is that how exactly I can create authentication and authorization. For an example, how exactly we can create a groups, user policies, because you are not the only one who use the AWS product, right? So there are many users who actually use the AWS. That there are some database engineer, there are some security engineer. They also need to access the AWS. So how exactly you can give a granular permission, or how exactly you can give the permission to them, so that we will understand in a security. Then I'll also talk about a networking. So just now I will say that how exactly you can create a QA environment, development environment, production environment, right? Then that also I'm going to explain in networking one. In compute, I'll explain about how exactly you can create a virtual machine, how exactly you can manage the virtual machine, how exactly you can manage a storage of your virtual machine. Then I'll also explain some serverless services, for an example, Lambda. Okay, how exactly we can use that Lambda services. That also I'm going to talk about in AWS Lambda. Then after that, I'll also cover about some other things, okay, like about storage. So Google Drive, you already know that we can upload the file, we can share the file, but AWS also has the Amazon S3, where you can upload n number of files, whether you have a 1 terabyte of data, 1 petabyte of data, you can upload it. There is no limitations here, and it just an pay as you go services. So here AWS provide you 99.999999%, that is equal to 11.9. It means what? In once in a million year, it may possible that you lost a single file. That commitment AWS provide here in the storage. Then we'll also discuss about the different database services, what's exactly the relational database services, what exactly the non-relational database services. It means NoSQL, MySQL, that also I'm going to explain. So here you will also understand about the DynamoDB. Now DynamoDB, it means what? That also serverless database. How exactly we can create and all, that also I'm going to explain. Obviously, we created this much infrastructure, and for that we also need a monitoring and scaling. So how exactly you can monitor it? How exactly you can create alarm? How exactly you can create notifications? Or how exactly you can create auto scaling? How exactly you can create a load balancing? That also I'm going to explain in monitoring and scaling. And after that, once we understand the entire basic infrastructure, how exactly we can create a manually, and now I'm explaining the same thing, how exactly you can create automation. And that is also using some script, because you need to create some environment daily, right? For the QA, for the development perspective. So how exactly you can create those environment in using some infrastructure as a code. That's the cloud formation, elastic benchtop services. That also I'm going to explain. Then I'm also going to explain about the container, how exactly the ECR, Elastic Container Service, Elastic Kubernetes services. So that also I'm going to explain here, how exactly we can create it, why we required it. So if you have an instance, if you have a networking, then still why we required a container. So that also I'm going to explain. And after that, the networking part too, where I'm going to explain about the how exactly you can communicate with your on-premises network. If you have 100+ AWS account, how exactly you can communication. So that also I'm going to explain in this networking part too. And after that, I'll also explain about diff serverless services. So serverless service, it means what? Without required any server, right? How exactly you can create a your environment. Or let's suppose you want to run some Python tool or code, or let's say Java code. So without server, how exactly you can deploy that code. So that exactly I'm going to explain in serverless. And now the remaining part, that's the 8 services. It means how exactly you can create DNS, how you can create a website, how exactly you can register your website, how exactly you can purchase a domain, how exactly you can manage that domain. So that also I'm explaining you here. Then how exactly you can prevent the DOS or DDoS attack. What exactly the web application firewall, what exactly the 8 services, what exactly the outpost, that also I'm going to explain here in these 8 services. And for the development, right, I'll also explain you about the developing on the AWS. Okay, so again, remember here you don't require any informations. Okay, it's just a straightforward how exactly we can create CI/CD pipelines, right? So I'll also explain that in 13-14 models. I'll also explain the tools, okay, for the CI/CD pipeline, that is continuous integration and continuous deployment here. And that is also using some cloud formation, SAM, server application manager. That also I'm going to explain here. And the last, how exactly you can create disaster recovery. As I said that it's not like you are using the cloud, it means what, every responsibility in AWS. No, it's our own responsibility. So how exactly we can create a disaster recovery for your storage, for your databases, for your virtualization. So everything we'll discuss, like what exactly the RPO, what exactly the RTO, that also I'm going to explain. So it is not going to only explain. So here we also need to perform a lot of labs in every topic. So my style is not, I'm not the PPT lover. I will never use PPT. I use hardly 10% of PPT, and rest of the 90% is completely practical session. So I'm just using a two thing maximum time. One is the AWS dashboard, that's a product. And second is whiteboarding, that's it. And how exactly you can create a practice, or how exactly you can perform the lab. So again, there is a very good thing in AWS. So AWS also provide a free tier account, which you use for 1 year as well. So 1 year, it's a completely free tier account. And remember, there is no difference between your enterprise account and the free tier account. Both are the same on the same platform and the same infrastructure as well. So we can, it's like a completely real field that whether we are working, like we are working on the AWS. So that kind of the practical scenario that I know I'm going to explain, and you also need to perform same time. I'll also provide some projects as well, which is also very helpful, okay, for your job interview or cracking the interview. So that's the entire syllabus, okay, for this our cloud engineer platform. So if you have any questions, you can ask. Over to you, Sudesh.
Thank you, Amaya. Thank you so much for taking us through this. I really appreciate it. And I'm just going to take over the host, Amaya, and I'm just going to
Yep,
a
sure.
few more things to discuss. And then we are opening the floor towards Q&A. Thank you, Maya. You might want to drink some water. You did a
Yep.
lot of talking. All right, so 1 second over here. Guys, I'm going to open the floor to Q&A in another 5 minutes. I do want to tell you the last few things before we close. We are looking forward to start our boot camp on that is coming Monday, which is gonna be 3rd of February, evening 8 p.m. We are having 4 sessions a week. Each session is 2 hours, which is we need to have a continuous training program. So we want to do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and as recommended by Mia, because there are some topics need to be discussed in continuity for that reason. So it starts 8 p.m. EST, goes till 10 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Then we have next 3 or 4 days for us to relax and get back. So how this boot camp works is phase one is you are learning the cloud platform with Amia. He's gonna teach you the complete architecture, and you're getting ready to learn what you will be doing as a job as a AWS engineer. Okay. Phase two, you need to make sure that before we go into the job market, we need certifications to be in your resume. We don't go to the market and then work on the resumes. No, you need to have certifications ready, which Amaya will guide you. Some of them might not want to go to solution architect. Some of you guys might want to do only admin certification, which is okay. But you need to take a complete guidance of Mr. Amaya to see which certification is suitable for you, because you can easily get confused and you might end up doing a certification which is not very accurate to this role. So you do not want to do any certification without his counseling. Third is pre-marketing phase. While you're 80 to 90% in your completion of your training, we start working on building the resume for you. Okay, your resume will have transferable skills. Okay, and you'll be doing capstone projects which we can use it in a resume for many junior level jobs is what we're looking at. Some of you might come from a senior consultant role, so you can show transferable skills, and we'll make a resume where we can highlight what you learned in the training, because your resume needs to be ATS friendly. We use a lot of AI tools to make sure that your resume is ATS friendly, because we're in the staffing business. We use a lot of AI tools to make sure your resume stands out for our candidates. So we are very proficient. So you will get one of the best in the market resume, and which we'll start working on your LinkedIn to show you transferable skills. And also we will give you interview questions, live interview questions, scenario-based interview questions, okay? Which you can showcase your skills based on your capstone, what you do in the training platform. You can discuss that in the interview as well. And talking about resume marketing, what we do is, since we deal with vendors, okay, there are two activities. One is applying for the job is done by you in LinkedIn or Indeed or whatever platform will tell you. But during applying for a job, there is something called rejection criteria. When you come to that phase, we will talk about it, how to reduce the rejection criteria. Based on our coaching and training, 50% of the rejection criteria have reduced, and it increases your chances of getting job interviews much faster. Okay, and with that, what we also do is, with our vendors which we are connected, we send them the hot list of our candidates who are skilled in this platform. We'll send the hot list and let them know that we have a skill whose candidate is available with AWS certified engineer, so that they can position for the opening. So we will market your resume in our connections. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the floor for a Q&A, and you guys can start asking questions, and so that we can start helping you answer these questions for you. If you have any questions, please, you can use the raise hand emoji in the bottom of your screen so that we can follow that order and answer your questions. Okay. All right, guys, floor is open to the questions. You can go ahead with it. Yeah, we are open. Go ahead, guys, if you have any questions. Thank you. Who's going to be the first one?
I was just Prashant here, so I was just wondering, how
Hi,
long
Prashant.
this
Go ahead.
the training gonna be again?
You're looking at almost 8 hours of training in a week and an overall training time of 70 hours, which is looking at 2.5 months of training.
Overall 70 hours, right?
Yeah, that's the overall
Okay.
duration of 2.5 months you're seeing.
Okay. Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah. Thank you, Prashant.
Thank you.
Welcome. Amin, Karthike, Alpha, Mohsin, Mohammed, Ishtiaq, Akansha, Garima, Surya, Deepika, Shweta, Abhijit, Kens, Ritesh, Parth, Maha, Mrinal. Any questions, guys?
So, hey, this is Deepika.
Hi, Deepika.
Yeah, so I saw in phase 2, there will be a certification prep, right? So after the course has been completed, so you will you will guide us which certification can be taken from the link which has been shared, or the
Yeah.
certification.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would recommend you to start working on your certification almost at 70% of your course. By the time you will know exactly what certification to be done, and you can start discussing with Mr. Amia, and he can start guiding you how to take down these certifications.
Certifications. Okay, got it.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
you're welcome.
Hi Sudhish. I just want to ask that
Hi,
do we
Deepika.
need to learn any of the languages as well, along with there are so many technical, because when once we're into this line or AWS or something, so any initial language or coding skills that we need to be into here and to crack the interviews?
No.
I will let Amia answer this question. Amia.
No, no. So you don't require anything, any language, because I just say that this is a completely the cloud engineer jobs where you don't require actually okay, obviously if you have a knowledge, then it's an obviously additional thing. But if you don't, that's completely fine. Even though I'm not a developer, or even though I don't have any knowledge about the Java, Python, or I have only basic information about it, right? So that we will also explain whatever it required, okay, to learn these cloud formations, these cloud engineer.
Oh,
So there is a no prerequisites it, right? I just
and
say that if you
later on when you like move ahead, then does this profession require any kind of language to be learned?
yeah, so this specific cloud engineer, cloud architecture, they don't require it. But
Okay.
if you go with the developer associate or something, then yes, for that you required the specific Java, Python, or these kind of language. But for other,
Okay.
no. As I said that you can take my example, I don't have any knowledge about the coding because that's not my cup of tea.
Okay. Okay.
Akansha, you might want to target the cloud support analyst roles or cloud specialist roles, okay?
Okay.
Because when you're talking about development, it's a different ballgame altogether. Okay, usually
Okay.
full stack guys upgrade them for this role, but I would suggest you to go after in a cloud support engineer jobs because they don't require any coding skills. But you, of course, you definitely have to have a good understanding of the platform, which we will deliver in the training for you.
Oh, all right. All right, Sudhish.
And as I said that there are a lot of job opportunity. Okay, it's not about only the cloud engineer. I just said that FinOps is also one of the part, which is very also technical job where you don't need any kind of the coding knowledge or anything.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome, Akansha.
Thank you, Ankansha.
Hi,
Okay, so
Sadish.
Prashant here. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, I mean.
I'm sorry. Hi, Sadish. Amir, thank you so much for all this information for today's session.
Thank you,
Uh,
Amin.
yeah, I'm just. I want to ask about the classes. Does it like it's gonna be during the weekdays, weekend, and
It's gonna be weekdays.
weekdays? Okay, and
Weekdays.
and
Yeah.
and 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 uh, I don't know if you bring that up like during the session about the cost of the course or training itself, or maybe I missed that part.
You mean the cost? Did you say
Yeah,
the cost?
yeah,
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry. Thanks for reminding. I did really miss that. I
yeah,
had in my mind to discuss, but I forgot. How about that? Thank you, Amin, for bringing that up. Answering your first questions, it's a weekdays training. We're looking at Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Thursday, EST time zone. Okay, because majority of candidates come on the Eastern time zone, so we're going to have that time zone for training. And the course fee, the bootcamp fee, including placement assistance, for US candidates, we are looking at 1,400 USD. For Canadians, we're looking at 2,000 USD. And you have payment options available for you. And you do have to register for the program, which a token advance of $500 you can make to register for your program, which you will get all those details in an email. We will send it out to you tomorrow morning as soon as we have the recordings ready. You will have a registration form. Once you fill up the registration form, one of our team guys will start reaching out to you, and we will help you register for the program, which is starting 3rd of Feb. Okay. Did I answer your question, Amin?
yeah, you did well. Another
Mhm.
question regarding the job role and the opportunity, for example, for Canadian candidates, just it's gonna be close for the job role in Canada, or we have the option to be to apply for the job in the US also.
Okay. That role, US jobs are open only for citizens.
Okay.
Okay, if you are a citizen, you can apply for US based jobs. Okay, but there is another way you can attract US jobs by going remote jobs. There are consulting firms in Canada which offer remote jobs in US. Okay, so if you are a PR, you don't have to travel, but you do have remote job options from Canada. Okay, for US guys, if you're already in States, the business model in US is for the last 30 years, 99% of the jobs are contract. So yeah, you can take jobs, but for Canadians, you will need to either be a citizen or a PR
Okay.
for attracting US jobs. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Any other questions, guys?
Yeah, sorry, Prashant here again. One last question. I was
Yes,
just wondering
Prashant.
when it comes to the topic, as we have to do certification after the course is done. At that point of time, do we have to pay another additional anything for the certification, or is it included into the fees that we are paying?
No, the certification fees is not included. It's additional to the training program. And we can check. I mean, can you check if we can get any vouchers, anything like that? Do you have any
Yes.
connections?
Yeah,
Yes,
any
sure.
discounts, anything like that?
I'll
Would
definitely
help
try
us.
to. So I'll just give some standard information, which is worldwide. The fees is same, the cost of the certification. So if you look at the foundational, the first certification, like a cloud practitioner, the cost is 100 USD plus tax. For associate, the cost is 150 USD plus tax. For professional and specialty, the cost is $300 plus tax. That's in USD. But here AWS provide also one benefit. For an example, let's say you directly jump to the solution architect associate and the cost is $150 plus tax. So let's suppose you paid it and you clear the exam. So once you clear the exam, the certification validity is for the 3 year. So for 3 year, that certification is validated because it's a technology certification, and all the technology certification you have a validity. Another thing, main benefit of this, once you clear the exam, for the next time whenever you are going to attend the exam before the within a 3 years, AWS also provide a 50% coupon code, and that you can directly apply to any certification. For an example, you go with the cloud practitioner, so the cost is $100, you paid, then you clear the exam, and again when you go for the solution architect associate, the cost 150 to $75. So it means in $175 you have a 2 certification. So that also you can use it.
We will advise you, Prashant, when you get there.
So you guys
guide
provide any vouchers for that, or
Good.
it's only the standard?
you.
Yeah, so we will try to provide the voucher. Okay, so we are actually working on the voucher. So soon we will provide those information as well.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ameya and Sudesh.
Thank you.
Okay.
Welcome, welcome, Prashant. Welcome, Prashant. Any other questions, guys?
Yeah, just one last question about the Azure the cloud certificate for Azure. Are you going like to set up a plan, webinar for that later on, and when it's going to be?
For Azure, yeah,
Yeah.
we will keep you. Are you part of our WhatsApp groups?
Yeah, not yet. Just
Okay,
contact
I'll send you the invite
yesterday.
to you.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have a webinar WhatsApp group where we keep sharing the updates on the upcoming programs. And I don't have a plan right now, might come up in the next 2 months.
Okay.
And once you sign up, be in the webinar group, you'll know exactly when it's coming up. Then you can reach out to us. But I do want to tell you, I could have started a AWS Azure Cloud Engineering platform, right? The reason I started AWS because right now, when we're looking from the staffing side, I see more jobs coming out on the AWS Cloud Engineering area. Okay, which means AWS is picking up, getting a lot of jobs when it comes to, maybe some kind of deployment, some kind of integrations, or maybe a lot of migration projects are coming up. And I think AWS market is picking up. So there's a lot of jobs coming in that area. And so we know at least by now, in another 2.5 months, if our guys are getting ready, they should take advantage of that surge in the job market. So that's why we do training based on the market requirement. And today this is the requirement. Maybe down the line after 8 months, if it's something else, we might even do GCP. It depends on the market requirement at the moment of time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We don't want to approach it in a blanket approach. You know what I'm saying? We want to focus based on the need. That's when we get results. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I know we ran really past the time. Okay. If you guys have any questions, final call. Okay.
I'm sorry, I guess I just missed it. I just want to know, it's a 4-day session for like 2 hours a week, and for how many weeks it is gonna be?
You are looking at close to 8.5 weeks, around 8 weeks to 9 weeks max.
9
Okay.
weeks.
It was around
Yes.
two.
So yeah, so you can
2.5
calculate
months.
7. Yeah. So total 70 hours duration.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a kind of skill you want to know today. If you want to go into IT, you just don't want to do some random career. You're wasting your time and money. So you want to make sure that you go for engineering roles, number one. Number two, go for cloud platforms because there's a lot of work happening there. So you want to go into careers where people are hired in mass numbers. Okay, and that's another trick. Okay, and also these are all going AI centric jobs in future scope careers. So yeah, so we will provide you a lot of mentorship also, and some of you guys want project support. We will also give you project support based on the requirements. So so we will continue to guide you. A lot of our folks who are still looking for careers, who are in the jobs, they continuously come down to us for a lot of mentorship. And if you're looking to transition to US market, we will also help you move to US market too. And also folks in US, if you want to break, we will tie you up with our vendors there too. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I don't want to hold you guys long. So your next step is you guys going to get an email with the registration form. Interested folks can fill up this form, and one of our consultants will reach out to you, and we will guide you in the next steps. So the next session is starting on, like I said, 3rd of Feb. You want to book your spot because these courses get booked up pretty soon. So you don't want to wait till the last minute. So you can make your registration real quick. Okay, thank you. And with this, I would like to conclude this webinar. Thank you so much. You guys have been such an amazing audience. And thank you, Ameya. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you,
and
everyone.
you all have a great evening. And see you guys back on 3rd of Feb.
you.
Have yourself a great night.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sudesh. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.